Welcome back. So I am live once again, early in the morning, you guys, before I begin my beautiful, productive day down here in Lower Manhattan. I have something to say. Y'all already know that I ain't shit, y'all. Y'all know I'm not shit because I'm coming to y'all early in the freaking morning, way early in the morning before I start my day. So you already know. You already know. But no, I feel like, listen, oh, thank you, son. Thank you. I mean, I love the sun, but thank you. Thank you. So, where do I begin? I mean, I think that it's quite interesting, right, to be able to share teachable moments relating to experiences, personal experiences. It's personal because it affected me, right? But I like to share things with you guys, and you guys already know I'm a very vocal, very expressive person, and I could not wait. I was going to wait till the end of the day to do this video, but I say, oh no, I can't wait because my throat chakra is like activated right now. It's activated, and I have this on my chest, I have this on my mind, and I'm going to release it. And granted, I am near this water. I think it's the East River, they call it. So I hope you guys are able to hear me clearly. I think so, because I do speak relatively boisterous. So you guys should be able to hear me. But okay, so I was dating this guy. He was Latino, right? Here in New York City recently. His family is from the DR. This is like a beautiful view. Why do I have to freaking go to work today? I don't have to go to work. I mean, I could take off, but no. I do have clients I have to see. I have evals. So I'm going to try to make this video concise and straight to the point. So, yeah, I feel like I was stepping outside of my comfort zone, doing something different, because this guy, even though I think he somewhat identifies as black, right? But he's not really like African American. I don't think he identifies like as African American. So we already have that cultural difference, right? Me being an African American, proud Pan-African, I make it very clear, especially on my dating profiles, that this is who I am, right? So that should be a pointer right there, right? And you guys will see how that's relevant in this video. But that should be like a significant cliff note to make note of, right? But it just goes over some people's heads. Like it just, phew, it just went over, I guess, his head, right? So he's a first generation American. Both of his parents were born in the DR. I'm like, all right, little fancy, a little different kind of experience. I've dated guys with many different kinds of ethnic backgrounds, nationalities, like, so I'm pretty flexible. I'm pretty open in that respect, right? And we vibe on the phone, like, really deep. But I feel like that's not unusual for me to vibe. It's not unusual for me to have, like, a very deep-seated conversation with a guy, or a woman, or anybody for that matter. Like, because I'm an intellectual, and that's what intellectuals do. Like, we can talk about a range of different topics, right? So I feel like, yes, we vibe. And I think in his mind, he's like, oh, it must be special because we vibe on the phone. Like, we're able to have this very intimate conversation, this deep-seated conversation, right? And it was great. And we vibe. When I say vibe, like, the conversation lasted probably, I ain't gonna say probably. It did last like 8 hours, yo. Not even fronting, yo. No cap. We talked on the phone for like 8 hours. It was just like good because I like to get to know people, and I felt like the feeling was mutual. He wanted to get to know me, right? So we were in it, you know what I'm saying? We're in it to win it. And so, yes, we planned a first date. And I think the first date was just us meeting at Central Park. I'm trying to remember. I think that's what it was, right? Because I live not too far from Central Park on the east side in Manhattan, and he lives in the Bronx. And so we planned a first date, and the sun is just like, it's up there at the 9 o'clock hour, you guys. It is up there. And so we plan to meet there, right? And for me, I'm a very punctual person. just all the way around, you know, not when it comes to dating or whatever. It's just, I'm a punctual person. If I say I'm going to be at a certain place at a certain time, rest assured I will be there, right? Or at least I will try to make it clear, like, I'm running late or whatever, right? But no, like, you don't really have to worry about that, because I am a person who has a respect of time. There are a lot of people who just don't have a respect for time, but I do, right? And so y'all already know this is a setup, right? So we planned to meet at Central Park. And granted, I think, yeah, I'm closer, because I told him I think I can get there like in 20 minutes just walking, and he had to come from the Bronx. But that's besides the point. Yo, you're on a train, you know what I'm saying? You're on a train. And so this is a pet peeve of mine, because it's like, if we're going to be somewhere at a certain time, you need to be there at that time. Like, don't have me waiting, and this is first impression, right? Like, and if you're going to have me waiting, like, bring something. Come with something in your hand, or come with a joke, or come with something. Don't just sit up here and show up and be like, all right, I'm here, like, what's up, kind of thing, right? So I did get there before he did, and I messaged him. He messaged me, and he was just like, oh, I'm close, I'm getting close. And he was telling me he was turning down whatever street that was, right? I think he said like 81st Street, you know, headed towards Central Park. And I'm just like, okay, I am here. And I told him where to get off at, so that, you know, we could be able to meet each other, because Central Park is freaking big, yo. That shit is big. So I'm just like, all right, this is where I am. Look for the freaking, I think it was an ice cream truck or something, right? Look for the ice cream truck. I'm sitting right here on the bench. I said, all right, cool. He shows up. And yo, he walking down a freaking sidewalk. This might have to be a part 2. I'm gonna try to finish it, you guys, before I head to work. But this might have to be a part 2. So he's walking. He gets out of the, I think, a Lyft or whatever, fuck, Uber. And he's walking in my direction, right? And I'm like, okay, I guess he looks like his pictures, you know. He looks like his pictures. Okay. But then I notice as he gets closer, I'm looking at the height. You know what I'm saying? I'm checking out the height, and I'm just like, from what I recall, he says that he's 5'10". I know what 5'10" is, and I know that I'm relatively about 5'8". And so I stood up, and I'm just like, when we met up, you know, small talk, whatever. Hey, what's up? Blah, 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 right? We walking through the park, and I just had to mention it. I was just like, yeah, I'm taller than you. Like, I'm taller than you. Not that it's a deal breaker. I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker, but like, if you say you are a certain height, right? Please show up at that height. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my pet peeves. It's like, why do guys have to front about their height, yo? Why try to pretend like you're taller than what you really are? Like, to me, that's so petty to have to lie about on a dating site, to say, oh, I'm 5'10", oh, I'm 6 foot, and then y'all ass show up like 5'6". Yo, because I'm 5'8", and I know that I had to be at least 2 inches taller than him. And he's like, oh, that's because you're wearing boots, whatever, with the platform. Nah, no. My heel on my boot was no more than 1 inch. All right, so let's give it 1 inch. Still, even after that, we came to realize that when we both were on the floor, flat-footed, no boosters, I still was taller than him, right? But that wasn't the deal breaker. Like I said, it's not the deal breaker, okay? But it was just something like stored in my memory bank, right? Because I feel like guys don't realize, like, when you're trying to win a woman over, right? I mean, of course, be yourself. But understand, like, if you really want a woman, like, come on, every little thing matters, especially when it comes to me. You know what I'm saying? It matters. And I need you to, what you say? Granted, you guys, listen, the sun is like beaming, right? It's like the 9 o'clock hour right now. So your comments, I have to hold the phone a certain way to be able to read them. He said, what if a guy is 5'4"? Listen, I have a lot to cover here, you guys. I gotta get through this. 5'4", but I think he was like 5'6", maybe 5'7", right? So that was that. And I noticed he was nervous, and I did talk about this. before in a previous video how I noticed that he just was not comfortable in his skin. And granted, it is a first date, but I don't need you to be that nervous. Like, I can, and yo, I should have told you guys, yo, it is freaking chilly outside. It is 36 degrees right now here in Manhattan. 36, like, for what? Why is it 36 degrees? Why did the temperature drop? But anyway, so he's nervous. I can sense it, like, all in his energy. Just like, why? And I pointed out, like, yo, you nervous. Like, shouldn't I be the one that's nervous? But I think I've been got over that whole nervousness thing on the first date. It's just like, for what? There's no need to be nervous. Just be yourself. If it's meant to be, it's going to be, you know what I'm saying? If not, then keep going. It's just like shopping at a store, right? You go and you look through the items. If you like what you see what you like, you buy it. If not, then you keep freaking going. You know, we're dating, right? We're exploring our options. And so, dude was nervous, right? I'm just like, I can't. And granted, okay, that's why I have so much to cover. Because granted, even before the first date, right? Like, I can tell he was nervous from the point when we made initial contact over the phone. He was just too giggly. Like, I'm like, what? Why are you laughing? What's so funny? Just laugh. Yo, he was laughing about everything. And I'm like, nothing is that funny. It's just he's nervous. He doesn't know what to say, so he's laughing. And granted, he's relatively much younger than I am. I usually don't date guys that much younger than I am. I mean, I have dated like guys like 2 or 3 years younger than me, but this dude was like 32 years old. Yo, I'm freaking 37 years old. I'm about to be 38. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just like, nah. And then, yo, like, is it me? Is it me? But so we're at the park, right? And I noticed, like, as he was speaking, because of course I'm observing, I'm checking him out, right? And I'm looking at his mouth, and he has like this white film on his tongue. And I'm like, where'd he do that at, yo? Why is some white shit on your tongue? I didn't say that to him, but in my mind, I'm just like, why is some white shit on there? And they say that you can tell a person's health, physical health, just by looking at their tongue. Why you got white shit on your freaking tongue? Why are your lips dry? Yo, his lips was dry. And I asked him, I noticed that. I did point that out. And I said, yo, your lips is dry. What is going on? And he was like, oh, I didn't bring any water with me. But it just made me think like, okay, either you're not in good physical health, or you're not in good physical health, you know, or your ass on drugs or something, you know. And he said he didn't do drugs, right? But I know if a person does drugs, right? He said he didn't do drugs, but come to find out, he does smoke marijuana. I'm just like, all right, you know, not a deal breaker necessarily, but my preference is a guy who does not smoke. I don't smoke. I'm not into a guy who smokes. And speaking of which, yo, I smelled cigarette smoke on his breath, and I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to smell cigarette smoke. And I asked him, like, we were at the park, I said, do you smoke cigarettes? And he was like, yeah, but not really. Yo, you smoke. If you smoke, you smoke. What's that not really shit? What person you know only smokes 1 or 2 cigarettes, yo? Not really? You smoke. Okay. So all of this is being stored in my memory bank, right? But yeah, I'm still curious because he's not that bad looking. You say he probably didn't shower. I wouldn't say that. Don't call me no freaking cougar. I'm not a cougar. I can get any guy I want. Definitely not a cougar. I wouldn't say that he didn't shower. I wouldn't say that he had like bad hygiene in that respect. Because I have, like I say, like, yo, this story unfolds, okay? But here's a spoiler. No, we did not have sex. I have to throw that out there in case y'all were wondering. And I'm going to try to end this video. Oh, okay. I have more time than what I thought, right? But I know that I can be very lengthy and very verbose in my storytelling sometimes. So I'm like, okay, he's younger than me. Not necessarily a deal breaker, because sometimes the younger guys, they know how to bring it in the bedroom, right? I mean, at least you're thinking like idealistically that's what they could bring, right? But, you know, beyond that, I'm like, all right. I smell the cigarette. Like, You can brush your teeth 3 times a day. If you smoke cigarettes, that shit is you're gonna smell it. It's just, ew. But all right, I kind of ignored it because the reason is, I'm gonna tell you the reason why I ignored it because nobody is all bad, right? So he did come with some good characteristics in the sense that he's also an intellectual, right? He's like more, even beyond being an intellectual, he's a geek. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of find that shit kind of sexy. Like, I told him, I was just like, you're geeky. And he thought I was like nitpicking. But I was just like, no, I actually kind of like that you have like a geek side to you. That's to me, that's a turn on, right? Like, you know, like, and he's able to talk about like a vast array of different topics and just like, you know, articulate himself. Like, I like that shit. That to me is a turn on. Like, you're smart. I like smart guys, you know, because we can connect on that intellectual level, right? And so keep going. It was like, I don't like you calling me no cougar, yo. Don't call me no freaking cougar. The way I see cougars is like old ass women, like trying to talk to like old women like in their 40s trying to talk to like 20-year-old men. That's a cougar. I'm 38. Now granted, yes, he's 32, but I guess he didn't come off as 32. Like, his pictures didn't come off as 32. And granted, listen, 32 in New York age is different than a 32-year-old man from South Carolina. Okay? I don't know where you're from, but the age is different, right? When we talk about New Yorkers, because New Yorkers just live a fast life, you know what I'm saying? They're exposed to a lot of people, a lot of experiences, like, so they age faster. Psychologically, you know what I'm saying, emotionally, like, their maturity is a bit higher than the typical person of their same age. It's just, it usually is that way. Especially even looking at children. You take a 5-year-old New York child and compare it to a 5-year-old somewhere else. It's just different, right? So that's the reason why I think sometimes I don't mind, like, being more open and being more flexible when it comes to the age. But I do like older, dominant men. I like dominant men, just put it that way. And so that was the first date, you guys. But I have to bring up a more recent date that we had, because we did go on several dates. And I do like that, okay, he did make an attempt, like, to try to, you know, be the man, right? Pay for the meal. It's just like, all right, paying for the meal. Just doing, like, his gestures. I feel like that goes a long way, you know, his gestures, right? But at the same time, okay, so this recent date, and I like that he's very attentive, right? And being responsive to what he observes that I like, right? So he knows that, you know, I like museums. That's a plus. Like, pay attention, guys. You know what I'm saying? This is how you get a woman, right? So I think that's what allowed me to keep, like, continuing my interest in him, because I did, of course, express that I'm interested in museums, and he banked on that, right? And we just went to a few different museums. He bought tickets for it, and we did go to the Museum of the City of New York, which I had never been to. And he also took me to the American Natural History Museum or something like that, right? I love that museum. I love that one more so than the City of New York Museum, but we did go to the Museum of the City of New York, and yo, this is what the deal breaker was right here. There was a lot that came up, because I feel like once I'm annoyed, like once like it's done, I'm just like, ugh. So I think this is what it was, right? So we went to the Museum of New York, and it was my first time there, and he did show up freaking late. I'm like, not again. Like, what the fuck? You know, but prior to that, he had made up for the first time he showed up late by showing up super early, and he was waiting on me on a different occasion. So I'm like, all right, maybe you get some cool points, but not really. Like, just don't do this shit, right? It's not that you need to make up anything to me. Just don't do it. And so that's how you make it up, just by not doing it, right? So he showed up a bit late. When I say late, I'm not saying like 30 minutes or an hour late. It was more like It was like literally like 8 minutes. I don't care. Yo, we said we're gonna be here at somewhere at 2 o'clock. Nigga, get your behind there at 1:45. Wait on me. You know what I'm saying? So I got there before him because I walked there. Because I live in Manhattan. He lives in the Bronx. So I can walk to a lot of places in Manhattan. Especially if it's like upper or even Midtown. And so I walked there to the museum. It was in New York. And like I got there before him. And then I'm thinking that when he called me, he was like already there. But he was like, no, like, I called you to let you know, like, I'm a few stops away, the train. Everybody blame everything on fucking MTA in New York, right? If you're late, it's MTA's fault. Just like everybody blame everything on freaking COVID during this past year. Like, poor COVID. Poor COVID. So, there always gotta be some freaking person in a truck riding by disrupting my video. And so he goes, yeah, like MTA, you know, they weren't making local stops, so that's why I'm running a bit late, right? I'm like, all right, just get here. You don't have me waiting, just get here, right? And he showed up. But when he showed up, this is the funny thing. He showed up sweaty. I'm like, whoa, you ran here? He was like, yeah, because I didn't want to keep you waiting. So I was like, oh, you're just a sweetheart. Like, that kind of warmed my spirit in a way. But then I'm like, nah, you're still not off the cuff, right? And so we go in the museum, we walking around. It was good. We was vibing. We was looking at the exhibits, you know. It was like bonding, you know, on the different exhibits that we saw in history. Because I like history. He likes history. So it was perfect, right? But then there was just one exhibit, right? It's always a one exhibit, right? Don't tell me what to do, okay? Somebody look at us when you're speaking. You this close to getting blocked away, okay? Just all you gotta do is sit back and watch. It's so simple. Just sit back and watch. I don't mind if you interact. That's fine, you know. But if you're not aware, like maybe you weren't here when I started the video, but I already said the sun is like at the 9 o'clock approaching the 10 o'clock hour. It's beaming down, okay? So shut the fuck up and just sit back and watch. If you don't like that, then you can leave. It's so simple. Don't torture yourself, okay? And so, yeah, one exhibit, right, where it was on I think the 3rd floor. It's like the highest floor in the museum. We started at the bottom and worked our way to the top, right? And so we get up there, and I actually like this floor, right? It had some commemorative pieces of the past year with COVID. It had a whole room like highlighting, you know, just different moments in time during this past year that we faced with COVID, right? And it had like, I think like the machine, the breathing machine, you know, that people had to be put on when, you know, the COVID was in their lungs and stuff like that. I like that, right? And then it had another part where it kind of intertwined COVID, because it was intersection between the pandemic and then the COVID pandemic, and then this race war pandemic that we've been under for many centuries, right? So that was interesting to see that like intersection between those two pandemics, like kind of displayed in one exhibit. And so part of that was they had highlighted like the event starting with Trayvon Martin, leading up to like the current time. They didn't highlight, of course, they didn't capture every single freaking person who got shot and killed by the police, or who was murdered by anybody for that matter that's non-black. They, of course, you cannot capture every single person, but they did have a timeline of events, and that Trayvon Martin was listed as the first person. And so he reads it, right? He says, because he reads what it says. It says Trayvon Martin was murdered. It has a date, of course, a date, and then it says Trayvon Martin was murdered by George Zimmerman, right? Was killed or murdered by George Zimmerman. And then his response is, okay, so, yo, That did it. That did it for me. That did it for me. So I think my initial reaction was to pause and try not to react. Pause. Oh shit, I got like maybe 15 more minutes, right? So my initial reaction was to pause, and I did pause. But I feel like I had to say something. No, because you're looking for a reaction. Like, you're looking for a reaction, right? So I did pause for a minute. I didn't say anything. I just kind of digested that. I was just like, oh. And then I felt something inside. I just like, I felt something. I was just like, did he just say that? Like, did he just show lack of compassion for Trayvon Martin? Did he do that? And I'm like, yes, he did. I know what I just heard. And he was just like, all right, so, like, his attitude, yo, the energy in the room just changed. And this is the thing, right? Because I know you got guys that be like, oh, I don't like a woman nagging, da-da-da-da-da. Listen, I'm not a person that nags, but I will address a situation. That's just me. We have a mouth. I can speak, right? And so I spoke up about it, and we were still in that same room exhibit or whatever, and I was like, that was insensitive of you, and I got offended by that. And he was just like, oh, because I kind of wanted to see where his head was. He was just like, oh, all right, but I don't see why they make it a big deal. His attitude was just like, okay, like, so what? Like, basically what he just said. Like, so what? Trayvon Martin got murdered by George Zimmerman. Like, why does he get to be recognized? Like, why do they make it a big deal? And basically, in a nutshell, he just basically explained it away to say, oh, so many other people are being killed. That's not the point. That is not the point. That's the obvious. Why state the obvious that, okay, so many other black people are being killed unjustly? That's not the point. I say Trayvon Martin is a representation of those people, right? They cannot highlight every single one, but it struck me some kind of way because, number one, he identifies more so as Latino. So I just feel like our experience, like African American experience and Latino experience, is much different, even though we share like common history. And it goes over some of their heads that they are African. But it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm just like, I was quiet after that. I didn't have anything to say. It was vibing like up until that point. And granted, like I said, this is like the last floor. So we've been at the museum for at least probably like an hour, right? We was vibing, you know what I'm saying? But like at that point, I didn't have anything to say. I shut completely down, right? And I think he noticed that. He was perceptive, and like he was just like, we were in the elevator going down. He was like, oh, I'm sorry, because he noticed I didn't say anything to him. We had still a few more other exhibits to see after that, and I just like was going at my own pace and not like sharing the moment with him, because I'm just like, y'all, nah, that's a deal breaker. That is a deal breaker. No. Like I said, I paused. I thought about it. All right, because maybe he just had maybe it's just a difference of perspective, right? But nah. I can clearly see like the energy is off. Our spirits are not aligned. Like, to me, that's important. I know I'm not tripping, and so just had to ride back by, huh? And so, I shut down. I didn't say anything to him, right? And then we got on the elevator to go back down. And then it was just silence. And he like broke the silence, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I've offended you. Nah, bro. It ain't no coming back from that. There's no redemption. It's no redemption from that. No, it's no redemption. And I know in his mind, like, he probably felt like, all right, so what? Like, he had the attitude, like, just don't give a fuck. Like, as most New Yorkers do, right? And so, like, after that, we did go to Central Park. And, of course, it's bothered me. It's something that's bothered me. I'm not going to fake, like, I'm over it. No, I'm not over it. I'm I'm not going to move on if I'm still bothered by something that just triggered me. Like, no, we can talk about it. And I felt like us talking about it, I mean, the purpose in talking about it is to come to an understanding of, okay, what his perspective is against my perspective, right? But I feel like it didn't make a difference, right? He pretty much stood his ground. The irony, right? He stood his ground. And basically tried to rationalize it, you know, and I'm just like, you don't get it. You don't get it. You're being very insensitive. But that to me was very telling. So that's another pet peeve. It's just the obnoxiousness, the lack of compassion, right? But that was like a red flag in that moment. And so from that red flag, like, it basically, it got my freaking antennas up. You know what I'm saying? Now my antennas are up. My antennas were not up prior to that. But my antennas are up to see, okay, like, what kind of racial and implicit racial bias lies within him. Obviously, we all have a degree of implicit racial bias. But I'm like, yeah, it's there. And so I gotta hurry up and wrap this up. And I can make this a part 2. So we did go to... I think it was the same day. We went to Harlem to get some food because it was like, oh, you're hungry? I'm like, not really, but whatever. I can eat, I guess. So we went to Harlem, which is one of my favorite places because they have, you know, a selection of restaurants, tasteful restaurants to choose from. We went there. But I noticed, and I don't think it was the first time we went to Harlem, right, together. We walked through, and I noticed, this is what I noticed. I noticed that when we're walking through Harlem, or the hood, so to speak, like, he just comes off nervous. I don't know. It's like, why are you nervous? Like, he has, like, he's afraid, right? He's, like, walking on eggshells, like he's afraid. And I'm just like, why are you afraid of black people? Because we walk through the Upper East Side where I live, which is predominantly white. And of course, the tax bracket is much different than that section of Harlem we were in. And I noticed a difference in his demeanor. Like, who you think you're dealing with? You're not dealing with somebody who doesn't pay attention. I pay attention to stuff like that, right? But he tried to explain it away because I think he realized that I was observing and to see that he was like, I can pick up on his energy and see that he was nervous. And so he's like, oh, yeah, these people, they always want something. And that's why, like, he tried to explain it to say, oh, that's why, like, I don't really like coming out here like that because they only want something from you. And I'm like, these people? What people? Because all I see is black people. Like, what people? What? I'm like, I can't believe what I'm hearing here. Like, what? But I like the bluntness, right? I just like that about New York. I appreciate honesty, right? That doesn't mean that I have to continue to interact with you or be with you, though. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you being honest about it. Because New Yorkers don't hold back. They don't bite their tongue. So I like that. It's just like, these people... I'm like, how do you feel they want something from you? Nobody wants nothing from you. What the fuck you have to offer them anyway? And he was like, oh, you mean to tell me, like, you can't see, like, these people want something from you? I said, well, maybe, like, sometimes, okay, that's anywhere in New York, though. You know, like, people trying to sell something or whatever, and they talk to you, because, like, that's what I mean. Like, the only reason why they come up to you and say something to you is because they want something from, like, nobody even said nothing to us. I don't understand why he even had to say that as like a defense. Like, he's throwing up his defenses already before something even happens. It's just like nobody even approached us to say anything or tried to sell us anything or ask you for anything. But that was just his way of trying to manage his own anxiety he felt and to explain it away. And I'm very comfortable when I go to Harlem or East freaking East New York, Flatbush, whatever freaking hood. I've never been the kind of person to go to any hood in a freaking America and feel like, oh, I'm scared, I gotta have my guard up. Like, no, you don't have to walk around. No, that's not what life is about. You know what I'm saying? The world is ours. That's how I always felt. The world is mine. I don't have to walk around like I'm afraid of anybody, especially not my own freaking people. But that was a whole nother pet peeve, right? This whole video is just complaint, okay? It's pet peeve, all right? I should have gave a warning in the beginning. Like, if you don't want to hear that, then, I mean, the title says it speaks for itself, right? Go somewhere, okay? Or let me help you and I'll just block you, okay? I will help you, but it's just, it is what it is. It's teachable moments in the sense that I feel like we all can take something away from this. But it's more to the story, you guys. I'm very mindful of the time, by the way. Oh yeah, I gotta wrap this up like in 2 minutes. And so, because I do have a meeting. I have a meeting at 10 o'clock. Yes, he was nervous. Yeah, apparently that Trayvon Martin, situation did not hit him. Because I forgot to mention, like, so he is like a very pale-skinned Dominican. Very pale. Like, he could pass, physically could, and potentially pass as white. Like, his skin complexion is like white. Probably lighter than some white people, right? But his texture of his hair is kinky, just like mine. He has locks or whatever. So yeah, he don't really identify. I mean, he'll say, oh, I'm black, and I'm, his father, he says, is like my complexion. His mom is like, I guess, his complexion. So he's like, oh, I can relate, I can identify. No, you cannot. You're not black. You're not African American. Whatever. So that's just a pet peeve, and it's just like one thing after another. I think I was just turned off, and I just annoyed, but I felt like we tried to talk about it, and of course he's trying to like win me back, right? But I just feel like he knows that I'm already upset. I'm just annoyed. And of course, he invited me to his place. He's cooked for me a few times, which he's like, I already made the post, the way to a woman's heart, you know what I'm saying, through her stomach. He cooks pretty good. I like that he has his own place, right? His own place. It's nice, it's clean. I walked in there, I'm just like, damn, that bitch clean up in here. Okay, then. Okay. He got furniture, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's set up. Like, he got his own setup. I like that. But the lack of freaking compassion and sensitivity, that's what I think got to me. And we had a conversation about this. And even in addressing his lack of sensitivity, he showed a lack of sensitivity. Or maybe this is the thing, I think, for guys. This is how I'm going to wrap this up. Because I think for guys, like, y'all struggle with this, right? It's like you want to rest in your masculinity and your manhood. So much so to the extent, or at the expense of not being able to connect to a woman's femininity, right? And that's pretty much how it was. It was just like, I can see that he was making an attempt to try to understand me. He's just like, okay, what's going on with this woman? Like, what does she mean I don't have compassion? Like, what does she mean? He went to explain it away and say, oh, well, I grew up in New York, and I remember this, and blah, blah, blah. It's every New Yorker story, right? Like, they're so freaking tough, right? So you just don't give a fuck about people? I mean, I get it. Yeah, it's like over time, like, you just see so much. You've been through so much. So, yeah, that can eat away at your ability to feel and to have compassion, to have empathy for other people. But fuck all of that. We're not compatible. And I said this to him. He just tried and begged and pleaded. And it's just like, I think he saw that I was slipping away, right? And so he made an attempt to try to salvage that. And more recently this week, I just had to say, like, this is not working. Like, nah, I ain't feeling this shit. I'm not feeling it. And he's messaging me like, oh, can we talk about it? Like, he's trying, right? But it's just like, nah, I'm not interested. Sorry, I lost interest. And so he goes trying to play on my emotions and sympathy, right? And that following morning, he gonna send a text talking about, oh, how was your night? And that's what I do. I give him his credit. Like, every freaking day, I get a freaking good morning text. How was your day? Hope you have a great day with your clients. He's very mindful, of my schedule. He, you know, because of course, each day I have different things I do, right? So some days I see clients for therapy, other days I do psych evals. So he's like, oh, I hope your day goes well with your evals. I hope your day goes well with your therapy clients. Like, I like those kind of gestures, right? And I was just like, all right, that's what kind of like was trying to solidify the bind. I was attempting to do that, I guess, but then nah, bruh, some things is just, I don't play when it comes to like, yo, I clearly make that clear on my profile. Like, I'm a Pan-African. That comes first above anything. And if I sense like, no, we have to be here. Like, it's political. It's survival. I feel like I can't really, it's only but so many words I could express this, right? It's just something that goes without saying. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it goes without saying. I shouldn't even have to say this, right? Like, I don't want to have to say this. This is the thing. That's why I feel like we should be able to connect on that level first, which I thought we did, because, you know, he was relating to me on that level in the beginning. You know, we were talking about, and I do that with like guys that express interest in me. We talk about freaking race politics. We talk about what's happening in the real world. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that's important. We grown folk here. So of course we talking about that, and I feel like, okay, we connect, we see eye to eye. But I feel like he got too comfortable and it slipped out. That's what it was. Like, I feel like guys be getting too comfortable, and that's another pet peeve. Like, yeah, be comfortable in your skin, but don't get so comfortable like, oh, you think you know me, or you got me like that, or you got me, huh, right? So you can just don't have to, like, you can just stop trying. I guess, yeah, that's what happened. I make guys feel comfortable. I can make anybody feel comfortable, and he felt comfortable. Just like your ass, Dwayne, think you feel comfortable, but don't be calling me no names, baby. I don't play like that. I'm a different kind of woman. And guys eventually learn that. And then, you know, sometimes guys make a mistake of trying to, like, go against me, right? Or you're not going to win, number one. You're not going to win. Just save yourself. So, like I said, he messaged me the next day. He's like, oh, good morning, da-da-da-da, how's your night? And he says that he had trouble sleeping. And I'm just like, I don't have any compassion. And it broke his heart, yo. I didn't say I didn't have any compassion, but I showed that, right? Which is even worse, right? Just like, this ain't got shit to do with me. You know, I slept good. That's the thing about me. I'm going to sleep good. But I got to wrap this up. I can make this a part 2. Guys, as a lesson, okay? Be yourself. If it don't work out, just keep going. You know what I'm saying? Don't get on this thing about you hate all women. I don't hate men at all. I've had some crazy experiences in dating. I take full responsibility for all my shit. I'm not the kind of woman just be like, oh, niggas ain't shit. No, that's not what this video is about. I'm just talking about my pet peeves. And I explained to him, listen, a lot of this shit is just me. It's personal. It's me. It ain't got shit to do with you. Be confident in who you are. I'm confident in who I am. Be confident in who you are and let it be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that serious, yo. You can find somebody else. But if you know that I was so valuable, then show me that. And stop being up on your fucking family all the freaking time. Ain't nothing wrong with having a family and friends, but goddamn, you all up under them. Like, what the fuck? Be a freaking man, yo. I had no compassion whatsoever. I'm just like, because you know why? Because I felt like it was manipulation. Oh, I had trouble sleeping. I said, why you had trouble sleeping? Oh, because I was thinking about you all last night and I couldn't sleep. He was thinking about me because his ass knew that he was gonna, like, lose me. Like, we're done. Hello. Like, you have an opportunity, I feel like, and I gave him time and time and time again, right? That's how I feel like. You have an opportunity, seize a freaking moment. It's so simple. Like, get your shit together. And then focus on yourself. And I feel like I'm releasing him so he can focus on himself. You know what I'm saying? He can focus on the shit that he gotta focus on and deal with. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not ready. I'm like, you're not ready. You're not ready for a relationship. You're not there. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of stuff you gotta work on internally, and I can see that through him. I can see when a guy feels inferior, he feels insignificant. Eventually through conversation, I got him to say he feels inadequate. he owned that shit, but he was in denial about it. I'm like, no, you feel inadequate about yourself. You can't say I make you feel inadequate. You already feel inadequate about your goddamn self before I came into the freaking picture. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be a strong-minded man, because I'm a very strong-minded woman. I'm very smart, and if you're not careful, you're gonna do damage to yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I wish him on his way. Be well. He may see this, he may not. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna live my life regardless. That's what people fail to realize. Like, I'm destined for greatness. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna live my life regardless. I only wish that I could meet people, especially a guy, a man, who can meet me there and we flourish together. You know what I'm saying? Be confident. I just like a dominant man. It just goes back to that. I mean, I just like a dominant man. He just don't have that characteristic. You know what I'm saying? Parts of him, in a way, I feel like parts of him, I felt his energy when he would give me hug goodbye. I'm like, damn, I like that shit. Bear hug. I grabbed me like, ugh. I'm about to go. I have to go, you guys. I want to keep my supervisor waiting, but I do gotta go. But you know, I feel better. I had to get that out. You know, sometimes you just gotta say something. You gotta like just express it, and I did it. This is what I do. I'm a vlogger. And I'm curious to hear your perspective on this topic, and I will catch y'all later. Crazy Bone. No, I wouldn't say crazy Bone in what way? I don't think he's Nah, he wasn't crazy. He's just, he's a sweet guy. He's just not for me. A lot of pet peeves. I liked his cat though. He had a cat. I like this cat. I like that, he's like physically active. He has 2 bicycles. He rides like miles throughout the city and shit like that. Like, it's a lot of like plus. Don't get me wrong, y'all. Because I can get on here and make it seem like just the guys I talk to just terrible. No, of course they have their strong points. If they didn't, I would not even be on a date with them in the first place. It's just, I don't know. Like, it's just not for me. And that's it. But I'll catch you guys later. Today's going to be a very productive day. Can we say the word for today is dissertation? Dissertation. All right. Catch y'all later. Love y'all.